Welcome to a Blaze online interview with Curtis Steiger, who will be coming to the Musical Instrument Museum on May 4th. Welcome. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you.
So how has your tour been going so far?
Well, my band and I were sitting at home for a year and a half, so getting to be back out in front of audiences now is really wonderful. It's so nice to be. I mean, I didn't mind staying home in my kitchen for a year and a half. It was nice not to fly, but boy, it's so great to be back in front of audiences again.
So what has been your favorite place you visited on tour so far?
Wow. Well, I mean, I've been touring for 30 years now, and I've been to a lot of lovely places. We spend a lot of time in Europe. So London is always a great place to play. I love London. I've got lots of friends there. Edinburgh, Scotland is another place I play every year almost, and that's a beautiful city. And we spent a lot of time in Denmark as well. I really adore Denmark, particularly Copenhagen. It's a wonderful city.
So this tour is following up with an album titled This Life. Would you be willing to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. Well, I've been making records for 30 years, and I decided for the 30th anniversary of my first album that I would take a look back at the songs that have been successful for me, the songs that I've been playing for all those 30 years. And they sound different now. They, when I first hit the scene back in the early '90s, when I had my early hits, I was more in the pop world. I was a pop soul singer. Now those same songs that were hit songs in the early '90s for me, I play them with a jazz quintet, and they sound entirely different. So I decided I wanted to represent the way my songs sound now on this new album. And so it's really a look back at 30 years in the recording studio, 30 years and millions of miles on the road, and thousands and thousands of concerts.
So what was the process of picking songs for this album?
Well, it was just a matter of figuring out which songs really sound different than they did when I recorded them originally. So that was the first thing. And of course, I mean, my first album had a few hit singles. So the songs like I Wonder Why and You're All That Matters to Me and Never Saw a Miracle, those songs definitely I felt like needed to be on the record because not only do they sound different, but they were successful for me. People know me for those songs, so I thought it would be a good idea to look back at those. There's a song that I recorded back in 1992 for the soundtrack to The Bodyguard, the movie The Bodyguard, that starred Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston, and that album sold 45 million copies. So I thought playing that song, What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding, re-recording it for this album would be a good idea. And then there's also the theme song to the show Sons of Anarchy. I co-wrote and sang that for the show, and we do a much different version when we play it live as a jazz quintet. So that was part of the process, was sort of thinking about which songs people would want to hear, and also which songs really needed to be re-recorded because they sound so different.
So one thing I found interesting researching into the album a bit is it was under Pandemic Poodle Records. Would you be willing to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. Well, I spent a year and a half on the road. I spent a year and a half not on the road. I spent a year and a half in my kitchen, and I couldn't promote my music. I had a new album out right at the beginning of the pandemic 2 years ago, an album called Gentleman, and I didn't have any way to sell it. I didn't have any way to get it out to people. And so I started working on making videos, and eventually I started a live stream show every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, noon West Coast time. I put up a camera and a good microphone, and I get my guitar out, and I put on a show. And I have 4 dogs, and so they are they are big stars of a lot of what I do here at home, the live stream show, and also the videos that I've made. And one of my dogs he's a Yorkie poo. He's a Yorkshire Terrier and a poodle, and I just always call him a poodle because he looks like a poodle. He's very fluffy and he can stand on his hind legs for a half an hour if he wants to. So I started calling at the end of each of my videos, I would say, it's a pandemic poodle production. I just liked the sound of it. It was sort of funny. And when it came time to put this record out, I was able to get the rights to the album in North America. Around the rest of the world, the album is on Universal Records. It's it's on a big label, but here in the States, I wanted to put it out myself. It was important to me to make sure that it got marketed correctly, and so I started my own record company, and it's called Pandemic Poodle Records. Yeah, that's the story behind it. Basically, we've got a lot of dogs, and one of them is a poodle, and I just thought the name was really funny and goofy.
So what has been the hardest part of putting this album out?
Well, again, I started my own record label, so there's a lot more work. Usually the record company takes care of just about everything, all the marketing, all the radio promotion, the distribution. I'm doing that now. I mean, I hired a distribution company. I connected with a wonderful distribution company. I hired a marketing company to do all the publicity and marketing. I hired radio pluggers to get me on the radio and to get the music out there. So I am not just a singer, saxophonist, and songwriter anymore. I'm also a label chief, and that's a lot more work than I ever expected to do. But it's worth it. It's nice to own my own music, and it's nice to call all the shots.
So the music video that was also released with one of the tracks, was that produced by you as well?
Well, there are 4 videos for this record. I haven't made a video since the 90s, since my pop days, and I made quite a few videos back then. 3 of the videos that we made, there's a video for Keep Me From the Cold, there's a video for You're All That Matters to Me, and there's a video for I Wonder Why. 3 of those videos I made in one day in Germany with a photographer in Germany who also is a videographer, and he edited them. So I would say he produced those videos. The 4th video is for the lead-off track to the album. That's the song What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding. And that was sort of it was certainly edited and created by another person here in the States, but I had a lot to do with sort of the concept of it. I shot all the footage of myself with a selfie stick. I wandered around Boise, Idaho, here where I live, and just got a lot of footage of me lip syncing to the record and just walking around. And then the videographer, the video editor that I worked with, he put together a bunch of found material stuff that he found on the internet that sort of spoke to what the song was about, peace, love, and understanding. And so yeah, it's been fun. It's amazing how cheaply you can make videos these days. I mean, it used to be it would cost over $100,000 to make a music video, and now you can do it with an iPhone and a laptop. It's really amazing.
So one of the songs on the album, This Life, was for Sons of Anarchy, and you've also worked on the Bodyguard soundtrack. What is it like making songs for movies and TV?
Well, for me, it's a really nice departure from what I normally do. It's so different. I mean, in the case of Sons of Anarchy, that's a blues rock song, so I got to wail. I got to throw my head back and, really shout a rock and roll song. And that's fun. It's almost like, just a little vacation from my regular job. And I love singing in the studio. It's a lot of fun. And it, especially with that one, it was sort of about playing a role, being, playing a part, that song is not necessarily, I mean, the show is about bloodthirsty gun running bikers, and so I sort of sang it like I was a bloodthirsty gun running biker, and that it was fun. And it also, once it was done, some really nice things happened. I mean, first of all, I'm the voice of a very, very popular TV show. I love that. Secondly, the fans of the TV show are really interested in my music now, so I made some new fans that way. And the other thing is that we were nominated for an Emmy Award. We as songwriters, we got to go to the Emmy Awards, and we lost to John Williams, which was kind of cool. The guy that has done all the music for Spielberg films and so many other things. So it didn't hurt my feelings too badly to lose to somebody that great. But that was really exciting to be nominated for such a big award.
So another thing is, on a lot of these tracks, you play a lot of different instruments. Going through it, you are an incredible multi-instrument player. What is your favorite instrument that you play?
Well, I'm best with my voice. That's my main instrument, is my voice. I'm a singer first. I mean, I've played saxophone for a long time, and I play guitar mostly to write songs and to accompany myself. I wouldn't say that I'm any great shakes as a guitar player, but I can go out and play a solo gig if I want to, if I need to. But yeah, my voice is the thing. I always say I'm a singer who owns a saxophone.
So what is the process you go through for composing songs?
Oh, I usually co-write if I'm writing. I mean, it's every now and then I will write a song on my own, and I just sit down with a guitar and kind of work out some sort of a melody, and then add lyrics to it. When I write with other people, I tend to be more of a lyricist. I tend to write more the words. I mean, I might help out on depending on who I'm working with. I might add to the melody, but there are times when I will just have someone. There's a guy I write with a lot, Larry Goldings, and he's a wonderful, wonderful jazz pianist, and he also and organist, and he also plays. He's James Taylor's main keyboard player. That's his day job, and Larry will just send me a melody, and I'll write lyrics to it. Maybe he'll include a title that he says, well, that you could use a title or not. And often I'll use that title. I mean, I've written a bunch of songs that way, where he'll just send me the music and I just write a story with the lyrics. So there are a lot of different ways to do it. You can get in a room with somebody, or you can just you can do it from 1,000 miles away.
So going through a lot of your biography, you could see the people you've worked with as like a who's who of music. Who has been the favorite person you've worked with over your career?
Well, I've been really lucky. I mean, the people that I've just gotten to open shows for and play, in concert with are amazing. I mean, Elton John was he was really my first big musical hero, and I got to open a bunch of shows for him and Eric Clapton back in the early 90s. And Elton has always been very nice to me. He's a really good man. And so that's pretty fun right there. Bonnie Raitt is someone that I've worked with a little bit, and I just don't know a better singer in the world. I think she has the most beautiful voice I've ever heard. And so getting to sit in with her every now and then and play music is always an incredible treat.
So what have you learned working in the music industry for the past 30 years?
I've learned that there are a lot of ups and downs in the music business. I've learned that you can never completely rely on your career to do what you want it to do. I've also learned that the best thing for me is to play the music that I love. That's the thing that has always been successful for me. When I ever tried to follow the advice of a record company person who said you should do this or you should do that, it never really worked as far as selling records or having success. And it never made me happy. It never fulfilled me as an artist. So that's the thing that I know is that I always have to, I have to call the shots. I have to be the person who decides what kind of music I play, and I have to please myself. If I please myself, then there will always be, it seems there will be people that will also like what I'm doing.
Have you noticed anything changing along all this time?
In the record business, my
Yeah.
gosh, yeah. I mean, it's an entirely different world now. When I signed my first record deal in 1990, and my first album came out in 91, and um, I sold 1.5 million copies of my first album. I am grateful if I can sell 15 or 20,000 copies now. That's just the way it has gone. Most people don't sell nearly as much product as they used to. I mean, it's in just small fractions of what we used to sell, because the record business collapsed. People stopped buying stuff. They started thinking that music was for free. And now with streaming, even though we get paid a little bit, we don't get paid much. Streaming is a really it hasn't caught up with the laws, haven't caught up with the technology. So that's a big difference. I mean, really, the only way for a musician like me to make a living is to go out and sell tickets, to go out and play shows, to travel. And luckily, I love to do that. I love to play concerts, and so that's how I make a living. But it's a different world. It's an entirely different world.
So how has COVID affected you as an artist?
Well, I mean, I stayed home for 1.5 years. COVID caused me to not have a job for 1.5 years. I had to figure out other things to do. Luckily, it forced me, it pushed me to learn some new tricks. I learned how to make videos, and I learned how to edit video, and that's been a lot of fun. I learned how to do shows right here at home. I've got a producer in Minneapolis who I link up with via the internet, and we broadcast these shows every Wednesday. Songs from My Kitchen has been going now for about 1 year, and hopefully we'll keep going. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't, it's not really a way to make a living, but it's a way to connect with my fans and stay in touch with them, and also to keep growing as an artist, as a musician.
Then what has been your favorite memory from touring all these years?
Well, I've got a lot of them. I mean, I'll never forget the weekend that I opened shows for Elton John and Eric Clapton and Bonnie Raitt at Wembley Stadium in front of 88,000 people. You'll never forget. You never forget to playing a show like that in front of that many people. I opened for Prince once. That was fantastic. To be associated with a genius like Prince. It was extraordinary. And then I've had some other, very I don't know, sublime experiences. I've played with some of my heroes. I played a gig with the great jazz harmonica player and guitarist Toots Thielmann years ago at the Hamlet Castle at Helsingør in Denmark, which is the castle that the Shakespeare play Hamlet is supposed to have taken place at, and that was amazing. I played in San Sebastian in the Basque Country of Spain, in the north of Spain, with Chick Corea, my idol. The first jazz album I ever bought was a Chick Corea record, and I got to not only play a double bill with him at a festival, but got to meet him and have my picture taken with my childhood idol. So there are just so many wonderful perks of being a recording artist that have to do with just me being a fan of music and of musicians. It's a lot of fun.
Then one final question for you. If you could say anything to a viewer of this, what would you tell them?
Well, I'd say come and see my show wherever you are. I think you're in Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to playing at the Musical Instrument Museum. I've heard about it for years, and I'm thrilled. I think you'll really like my band and my show, and you might as well go buy my record while you're at it. You know, the LP. It sounds really good on vinyl.
Well, that is all I have, all the questions I have for you today. Thank you very much for joining us for a Blaze interview. Yeah, Curtis Steiger will be at the Musical Instrument Museum May 4th. Thank you very much.